to the point that somewhere in the 70s, the bank disappeared and all our money in it disappeared. So we sued.
Oh, Jesus.
Yep.
So here it is. The bank was being used by the CIA to funnel money for covert military operations, including those at Andros Island, a staging area for anti-Castro activities. So they were stealing your money. How?
I just found that. I don't know. I just typed it in and went to the Wikipedia, and I was like, whoa, that's interesting.
So insane.
See, I didn't know any of that.
You didn't know until now?
Oh, I knew that now. Or I suspect, yeah.
Did you know that up until now, or did you just find it out just now?
You could tell me a lot of things right now, and I'd say, oh, yeah, I guess assumed all that stuff was kind of happening. But I didn't know it at the time in the early 70s or late 60s when we got into this thing. It was actually 70s.
Do you know how anti-American that is? The CIA stole from Creedence Clearwater Revival. You know how fucking crazy that is? That is so wild.
No, I didn't know that part. The funny thing is, I had decided to get out of that plan, right? And I'd gone down to see my own people, my accountant, my attorney in Oakland, and told them I just want out of this thing. I don't like the idea that you got to call, whenever I want some money, like an allowance, you got to call up some bank account somewhere over there, and it takes, some time, some few days before I actually receive my money. And it was starting to just smell. It was starting to, now we're talking 1975, 76. And so I actually had the meeting, and I said, I want to be out of this plan. I don't want to, I said, one of the things I said to the meeting of professionals, look, take a shoebox, put all the money I've ever earned into the shoebox, and now hand me the shoebox so I can see how much money have I earned. Because I didn't know. It was just going straight into this fund, right, into this Castle Bank. But they couldn't tell me. So I leave. I get down to the parking lot in the basement of this tall building in Oakland, and I'm with my the guy that runs my office, and I say, shit, we're going to have another meeting. Because even though I told him I want to get out of the plan, I didn't stand up like on the table and go, I'm ordering you and you get me out of the plan. I realized they could weasel some more time until I actually pointed. So the next week, I showed up and did that. I'm ordering you, get me out, out of the plan, right? Pretty quickly after that, a week or two, we hear that the bank has closed. There's a telegram that apparently was sent on Valentine's Day, and the bank president has died. He died in a sauna.
Whoa.
I've seen that movie, where Abbott and Costello, and the mob comes in and they're in those heat things that are up to here, and the guy sticks the broom in the doors so you can't get out. And
Yeah.
I mean, except that this was serious, and there will be no more withdrawals until this thing is understood.
Resolved. Right.
A bank president dies, you don't close the Bank of America.
Right.
You still can go get your money. And so pretty quick after that, it all just disappeared in a puff of smoke.
They just stole the money.
Gone. Yep.
And it was the fucking CIA. That is crazy. That is so crazy. How much money was involved with all the different people that lost their money? Like, how much money was this bank holding? Do you know?
Oh, well, there were other names that I never saw in those days. A lot of sort of mobby kind of sounding names.
Yeah.
I will tell you, after the thing closed and we got the telegram that the president, I literally started checking under my cars, looking for wires and something funny. I did that for about 3 months.
Whoa.
I finally I was scared.
Yeah, I would be
Because
too.
I was the guy who said, I want to get out of this thing, and suddenly it goes kaboom and the president dies.
Right.
Right? And I just figured that I was some kind of whistleblower to them or something, and I'm in their way.
Wow. I
may have
guarantee you're the reason why it happened.
I don't believe that's true.
Well, no, I mean, you probably caused the whole thing to close down. I mean, it's not a coincidence that it closed down right after you asked for your money back.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're a big public name and a big voice. You get out, you take your money out.
After that point in time, I really never wanted to talk too loudly about stuff anymore. Oh my goodness. So there eventually was our lawsuit. It was my lawsuit. I got with a lawyer, a tall building I call it, and proceeded to start proceedings against this fantasy, our own attorneys and experts, the people that designed this plan, all the rest, right? But I was the only one in the band that did that. The rest of the guys kind of just went along and weren't making any waves. And I was pretty adamant. I'm telling you this because at some point later, more than a year had passed, maybe a year and a half. My lawsuit had been rolling along a while, and then the other guys asked to join my lawsuit because the statute of limitations had run out on them being able to sue anyone because they literally tried to stay in the plan. I was willing to take the penalty, whatever it was, for being the dumbass that let himself get into some financial thing like this, right? I felt like Joe Louis. I thought I was going to need an act of Congress to forgive the debt. These experts in the meeting that I talked about who were trying to dissuade me from making a noise and trying to get out of the plan told me eventually, John, if you receive all the money at once, you will pay more than 110% in taxes of what you have earned. In other words, I was going to go in the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, for receiving it all at once, right?
That sounds insane.
That's why I felt like Joe Louis.
That's the most insane thing I've ever heard.
Well, they were trying to intimidate me.
Of course.
Sure.
Yeah. How much money were we talking about? How much money did they steal from you?
When it finally was over, the headline in the San Francisco Chronicle, I mean, you're going to laugh at this. Rock band Victorious wins $8.1 million. That was our entire take for everybody in the band. Each guy had a little bit different amount. But, those numbers sound, I don't know. Dion once made a joke at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame about Bruce. And Dion says, well, I sold 40 million. Meaning, you assume me. Well, Bruce has that on him. It was pretty funny. Yeah, 8 million that was it. That was our take from all the sales of Creedence at the time.
Was that the amount of money that was in the bank that they stole from you?
That was what we got returned to us.
So you did get the money back?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, I figured they would just vanish.
The money didn't come back from Saul's Aunts or Castle Bank or any of those people. What had happened was Fantasy was let out of the lawsuit by the local judge in the Bay Area. I don't know why, because they're the ones that got us into the plan. But anyway, they were let out of the whole thing. So who was left was this guy named Bert Cantor in Chicago who designed the plan, and our own accountant and lawyers. And so what most of them did was settle for pennies on the dollar. We said that you owe us $1 million or whatever, and they settled for like $10,000.
Really?
Right? Rather than go to trial. But our own accountants' legal team said, we got these guys. They can never win this. So, ironically, they wanted to go to trial and put the poor accountant, who was an old guy, through a whole trial, and Creedence we retained the money we had lost in that plan, the $8 million I just mentioned, from the law firm, the insurance firm. It was his insurance company's lawyers that were representing him, and they had to pay. Nobody else had to pay.
Interesting.
And the CIA or whoever you're talking about got away